Okay, this is the Ruger 1022 Charger. This is a 1022 style handgun. In today's video, we're going to look at this gun, and one of the problems that I've had with this gun is these guns come from the factory with these very nice bipods, and the stock is very large, and there's a pretty far reach to get to the trigger from the pistol grip. But I like to shoot handguns from a standing position like you would normally shoot a pistol, like this. This gun is very awkward to shoot like that for two reasons. One, it's very heavy, sort of like the AR-15 style pistols. And the second reason for me in particular is the grip is very large and it's very hard to get to the trigger with the stock that comes on the gun. So what we want to do is we want to take this gun back to the shop, and I'm going to show you some modifications that I think would make this gun a lot more comfortable to shoot, especially from the standing position. So what we want to do is see if we can take this pistol and make it easier to shoot from a standing position as a pistol without having to depend on the bipod or a solid rest to shoot this gun. We're going to use products from several different companies to try to achieve this. We'll begin a modification with this Nordic Components AR22 3-piece stock set. This is designed to take a 1022 and give it the ergonomics of an AR-15. The CAC pistol receiver extension will then allow us to use the SIG brace. Another component that I'm going to add to this build is going to be a very nice Kid Innovations, K-I-D-D, Kid Innovations 1022 style pistol barrel. This is threaded stainless steel, has a very good reputation for accuracy, so we're going to use that as our fourth component to take this Ruger Charger and try to make a pistol that we can actually shoot from a standing position comfortably. Now, just a couple of legal issues I'd like to talk about first before we get started on this build. First, you need to understand very carefully, if you're talking about placing a short barrel on a 1022 receiver, you must start with a 1022 Charger pistol. The receiver has to be made as a pistol initially. You cannot take a 1022 rifle, and even if you take the stock off, then put a short barrel and never put a stock back on. That is considered by the ATF manufacturing a short barrel rifle, and you cannot do this without first doing the paperwork and paying the tax stamp. So if you're going to do a build with a short barrel on a 1022 style receiver, the receiver has to first be made as a pistol. Very important to understand that. Do not put a short barrel on a 1022 rifle without doing the paperwork, even if you're taking the stock off. The second thing I'd like to talk about is a little bit about the SIG pistol braces. It's very important to understand that with a pistol brace, this has been determined to not be a stock by the ATF. But it's also not to be used as a stock. Okay? So we're going to take this gun, which is particularly difficult for me to hold because of its weight, and shoot from a standing position. And we're going to use the brace as intended to try to brace this gun so that we can stand and shoot this with a one or two hand position like a pistol. Okay, first we're going to make sure the gun is safe. And unload it, nothing in the chamber. And we need to just strip the gun. So we'll take the old stock off. We want to put the Kid barrel on. Here again, it has threads for a suppressor, has a reputation for being extremely accurate, so we should be able to take this pistol and improve the accuracy. take the old barrel off and replace the barrel. hand fit this with some very fine sandpaper, and just a little bit too snug to go in now. Okay, well, we've spent about 20 minutes with some 600 grit sandpaper hand fitting this kid barrel to the 22 Charger receiver. We've got it in, we put the V-block back on, tightened up the V-block. The Nordic adapter that we're going to use is going to require that we take off the rail that was installed on this charger. So we'll go ahead and we'll take off the rail. So we have the barreled action, the Nordic AR22 chassis. So when we fit this, this has got to go all the way back and slide all the way down in this chassis. And what I'm finding is that it's just not quite enough clearance. We need just a little bit of clearance right here so that it'll slide down all the way. So we're going to just take a little bit off with some sandpaper right there and hand fit this too. So what I had to do is take just a very little bit off the back of this trigger so it would simply slip down into this frame and then fit flush. So now it's in the bottom, and then we're going to attach the receiver to this AR22 using the action screw out of the stock. Now the top of the Nordic AR22 is going to go on and attach with the 4 screws through the top of the receiver where the rail came off, and then the front piece goes over the barrel, and then there are 2 screws that will attach it to the chassis. Okay, the top is attached now. The pistol grip has a little rubber spacer that comes with the kit that goes behind the trigger guard and in front of the AR-15 pistol grip. That looks very nice. And then I'll use a standard A2 pistol grip. Looks good. Okay, pistol grip's now on, but the spacer in front of it feels good. Actually feels a little lighter already, even with the heavier barrel. Okay. So the rear is going to allow us to attach a standard AR-15 type receiver extension, which we will use the CAC pistol receiver extension, and then we'll be able to place the SIG brace. Then the front attachment will allow us to use a standard AR-15 barrel nut and then attach a handguard to the barrel nut. 2 screws to secure this. Now we've installed all of the components of the Nordic AR22 designed for a 1022 to give it the ergonomics of an AR-15. In this case, we've used a 1022 pistol. Now we'll pick a hand guard for the barrel, put the receiver extension on and the SIG brace, and then we'll have our build complete. So the front of the Nordic component is threaded just like a standard AR-15 upper receiver. So I've picked a free float hand guard, and this will just screw in. That finishes the front end of her build. Then the rear of the receiver is made to accept a standard AR-15 receiver extension. We're going to use the KAK, the KAK pistol buffer tube, and screw right into the back. And then we're going to use the SIG brace for this build to see if this will work in allowing us to shoot this firearm now like a pistol, which it is. So the last thing I want to do before we head out to Bullet Creek is put a little red dot sight. I'm going to use a primary arms red dot sight, and we'll just mount that, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So we've got the red dot sight on it. The other thing we're going to try is Tactical Innovations 25 round magazine. We'll see if it locks up pretty good. And we'll test this and see how it works in the gun. It'll be a little bit easier to remove the magazine compared to the flush 10 round magazine. So let's take it out and test it. So we're back out at Bullet Creek now, and we have this Nordic Components modification. It's the AR22 that we've placed on a Ruger 1022 style pistol, the 1022 Charger. Now what we want to do is test it with the SIG brace. There are a couple of points that I'd like to make. Once again, we need to reinforce the legalities of the SIG brace. It is legal to use the SIG brace for a cheek weld like this. It is legal to use the SIG brace with your arm inside the brace, the way it was originally intended, like this. Now, I do want to comment that just by placing the Nordic Components AR22 receiver kit on this pistol, it is already a lot more comfortable for me. It uses a standard AR grip, and it's a lot closer to the trigger. So I can get a lot better trigger feel with this AR22 modification. So it's already more comfortable. So what we're going to do now is let's just demonstrate this and see if we can shoot it now as it was intended, standing with one hand or with two hands like this. Let's try it. We have the Tactical Innovations 25 round magazine. I've just loaded it up with about 10 rounds so we can test fire this and see how it works. Safety's on. We'll charge it. Now, the SIG brace is adjustable. It allows me to control the gun a lot more easily from a standing position. So let's take the safety off and see how it shoots. Okay, works very well. We're clear. So now what I'd like to do is demonstrate the cheek weld shooting technique using the SIG brace. We got a good sight picture, and it's a lot more comfortable to shoot accurately using a cheek weld. So what we have is the before and the after. We start with a standard Ruger 1022 Charger, and we've added the Nordic Components upgrade, the AR22 kit. We've added the SIG brace. We used an Outback 2 suppressor, and we found that it is certainly a lot more comfortable to shoot as a handgun. Really, the cheek weld is even more comfortable than having the arm strapped in the SIG brace. We'll have to look at other braces in the future and see how they compare. But with the Nordic components using the standard AR pistol grip, it was certainly a lot more comfortable to shoot as a handgun. I hope you found the information useful. If you did, consider liking the video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Shoot. Okay.